Yeah. Now the dollar became more attractive to a British person. So that is the game. That for me, that was the game change.
And then the gains got reversed.
Because now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on Sunday Interview. I'm your host, Grevazio Zulu. Now today, our guest is an accomplished and acclaimed economist who once served as central bank governor. He has worked as senior advisor to the president of the African Development Bank, executive director of the African Development Bank, as well as permanent secretary at the Ministry of Finance. He is a former lecturer at the University of Zambia. During his reign as Bank of Zambia governor, he was recognized by reputable magazines as Central Banker of the Year 2007, as well as in 2008. More recently, he has served as Executive Director of the Macroeconomic Financial Management Institute for Eastern and Southern Africa, based in Harare, Zimbabwe. He currently serves as Zambia Revenue Authority Board Chairperson. My guest, Dr. Caleb Fundanga. Our topic, Zambia's economy. Are we on the right path? Doctor, welcome to the program.
Good evening, Grevazio.
I've attempted to summarize your very colorful and distinguished career. Something I've left out?
No, nothing.
I know you still sit on the board
for the Reserve Bank. I'm still a member of the Zimbabwe Reserve Bank Board, and I just recently relinquished my chairmanship of Standard Chartered Bank Board, where I did my last service there on 30th March when we had AGM. So those are the things I've been doing.
And you've worked in government as well?
Well,
served in several positions.
Yeah, as you have said, I was permanent secretary from UNZA. I went to Ministry of Finance, but very briefly for a few months. Then I was reshuffled to Cabinet Office, where I stayed for quite some time. And then I went to National Commission for Development Planning until 1995, when I went to Abidjan to take up my appointment at the African Development Bank.
Working at that high level, you must have been dealing with a lot of issues affecting Africa as a senior advisor to the president.
Yes, especially as a senior advisor to the president. I used to travel with him, and also I was advisor on issues relating to English-speaking African countries, as well as policy issues in general. So he was a very good, he was a Moroccan, Mr. Omar Kabaj. He was a very good boss, I must say, very supportive. And so we worked very well. But our relationship started from the board. In fact, when my tenure, which was 3 years, came to an end, he said, it's unfortunate I was leaving and so forth. I wish you could continue working here. So I said, well, my constituency only allows me 3 years, so I have to go. But then he said, supposing I offered you something, would you agree? I said, well, I'm here because of my government. If you write to my government and they agree, how come? So they wrote to the Minister of Finance, then Honorable Pensa, and he said, you can have him. So that's how I stayed longer than I was supposed to. That was 1998 up to 2002. So it was an extended stay. But in 2002, the new government of President Manawasa wanted me to come to the central bank. So they wrote to the president to say, no, we want him now. We allowed him to work with you. Now we want him back home. And he had no option also but to release me. And that's how I came back. Yeah.
So working as executive director at the African Development Bank, what did you come across as one of the major problems facing African countries?
Well, African countries face many challenges for poverty, underdevelopment in general, low agricultural productivity, lack of industrialization. All those are problems we are trying to resolve. But you also realize that the African Development Bank is just one of the many institutions that are supposed to address all these problems. And it's a small institution. There are bigger institutions like the World Bank and others, the IMF. And I must say that the African Development Bank also helped to establish the Africa Export and Import Bank. And during the time when I was at the Bank of Zambia, I was privileged to serve also as a member of the board of the Africa Export and Import Bank, whose headquarters is based in Cairo. And I served for 10 years until 2013, where after I left Bank of, 2 years after I left Bank of Zambia, I was still a member of the board of Afro-Exim Bank. But this is a bank which promotes exports. And you know, exports are very key to the growth of nations, because unless you can have markets beyond your consumers in the country, you can't grow very fast. Most of the countries that have grown very fast in recent years, typically I can name China. It's because they have become the main exporters of the world. So that bank was established with the support of Africa Development Bank, and it has done well. In the 10 years I served on the board, I saw it grow. And now you see it, even all these institutions like intra-African trade fairs and all this kind of thing, they have been established by the Afro-Exim Bank. And I must also say that it is thanks to great leaders like President Obasanjo. He's the patron, and when you hear that he's a patron, he's truly a patron, because he was there all the time. I remember when I was on the board, I was also a member of the executive committee. We were entrusted with selecting or interviewing the aspirants for the presidency. And vacancy of president fell vacant while I was on the board. And as a member of the executive committee, we did interview people in London. And we selected somebody, Jean-Louis Ikra, a great African from Cote D'Ivoire. But there was a problem that the host country also had a candidate. And
so the stiff competition.
So it was stiff, but we were of the opinion that the other candidate was the best. And it was very acrimonious. I've never seen such acrimony at the international level in Africa. Because the man we chose was PI'd from Cairo.
Prohibited immigrant.
Yeah. And we were faced with where to send him. I remember phone calls everywhere. And eventually we said, let's send him to Abuja, where we had an office, a regional office. The other one was in Tunis, and the other one was in Harare. But the two countries had different problems. So eventually he went there. For 5 years, he was operating from Abuja. Living
not
in
from
a
headquarters.
Not from headquarters, and all the staff were there. So it presented us with a big, big challenge. How do we run an international organization like that? Where can we have our board meetings? Can we meet in Cairo when the president is not there? And that time, you know, these virtual meetings you talk about now were not there. So we used to meet every quarter in a different African country. And just that aspect, every 3 months we're meeting Zambia, Zimbabwe, you could meet Mauritius, you could meet in Tanzania, everywhere, all over Africa. For me, it was also the time when I had a chance to visit a lot of countries. Yeah, and also learn some of the challenges that different countries faced. But that was it. And at the end of his 5 years, eventually we decided to move the headquarters to go Accra, Ghana.
Completely move it out of Cairo?
No, well, you know, as a bank we had a financial muscle to do certain things which some of these organizations you have don't have. So we just said if we have to move out of Cairo, we are ready. Then this information was communicated to our host country, and then they came back and said, no, they were brothers.
Can you bring him back?
So we met in Gaborone, and we discussed, and we agreed that the president could finally go back for his second term to Cairo. And also we changed the statutes to make it very clear that a host country cannot provide the chief executive
yeah.
of the organization.
Just to make it very clear.
And that's how it has remained. But that was also another experience in terms of how some of the challenges that African institutions face. Yeah.
Now, coming back home, you probably boast of being the longest serving Bank of Zambia governor. How did you achieve this feat?
No, so far, yes.
Nine years, close to 10 years?
9.5 years. My tenure was going to end at 10, so I only missed 6 months to finish 10 years. Obviously, it was also part of the quest for stability. You know, you can't have stability if you are changing the chief executives of your organizations, whether it be a central bank or whatever, every 2 years or so, because it takes time to put certain things in order. I can tell you, for instance, when I got there in 2002, I found there was a report, a joint report from the IMF and the World Bank, which listed a lot of problems that the country was facing in the financial sector. And we sat down with the colleagues. Most of them are still there at the Bank of Zambia. And we said, how do we surmount these problems? So we said, okay, the solution must be a holistic approach. And so we came up with the financial sector development plan. I'm sure you had heard of that. So we agreed, we took it to government, and the government approved, the cabinet approved it, and we started implementing. You know, it ran for 4 years. When it reached the end, we said, okay, we now have phase 2. So we did another, I think 2 or 3 years. Now, could you have achieved that if I was there for 2 years?
That would have been a different government.
It wouldn't have happened. And I'm sure that most of our earlier governors, whatever they did or failed to do, it was because we never gave them time. So in my case, I'm very happy that I was given time to stay there for the first 5 years and then go on for another 4.5 years. But I give credit to my boss, President Monawasa, because when he appointed me, he told me, Caleb, I want you to do the right thing professionally. Don't look behind your back to see if I'm about to fire you. I'm not going to fire you if what you're doing is correct. But if you do something wrong, I can't sacrifice the people of Zambia. So if you do wrong, the axe will fall on you. But if you don't do wrong, no axe will fall on you. So that's the message I conveyed to my colleagues, that we've been given the right to do the right things. Okay? But if we do wrong, we won't be here. And I must say that up to the time of his death, I never faced a time when I could fear that the president was going to fire me, because we were doing the right things.
Then President Banda inherited
the
you
President
and allowed you to operate for another 4 years.
we continued until the time when the Banda government, short-lived as it was, when it came to an end, then I was retired by the new government that came into office. No reason, they just said, thank you for your services, you are retired in the national interest, thank you. So those are some of the dangers that professionals face in our country, because even when you are doing right, the axe may fall on you. Sometimes the axe doesn't fall on those who are doing wrong. It falls on those who are less willing to do wrong.
So now, I want to say, you probably were privileged to serve in what I can call a golden age for the country.
Certainly.
Date was cancelled. Copper prices were at the peak.
Okay.
We reached peak.
New investment coming in. So
you had it easy almost.
Yes, I can't say it was easy, but every stage has got its own challenges because, as I say, it's the policy environment which is uncertain. So, you can have sudden reversals in policies, even if you want to do the right thing. As you saw, okay, we did a lot of good work. We introduced a lot of things during our time, things like, for instance, you never used to have Visa cards in this country. If you had a Visa card, it meant you had an account abroad, isn't it? We introduced all those things. We introduced the Credit Reference Bureau so that credit scores for potential borrowers can be developed and assist them to have easier access to credit. We also went for sovereign rating. And we got a good rating, which gave us access to the Eurobond market. But one thing I can tell you during our time, we had said our debt has just been cancelled. Okay, a huge portion of it, whatever remained was minor. So we said we didn't need to borrow. But of course there were issues like, if you don't borrow, you need to help your private sector. Some of them may want to borrow from the Euro market. And if there is no sovereign rating, you want to establish the standard for the determination of the cost of borrowing, So you needed to have a benchmark pricing for your credit. So at that time, in our discussion with the World Bank, we had said, okay, we can go for benchmark pricing. Maybe we can go into the market for about $500 million. There are always issues here. Those who help you to go to the market, they want you to borrow more. On your part, you may not have any need for it.
Plans for the money.
But generally, the agreement was that 500 was good enough for the market to establish a good price for your bond. So, but we never did it during our time. We still were resisting because you don't borrow just for the sake of it. But when we left, the new government in 2012, they went, initially tried for 500 million, which was the initial target. But when they saw that there was...
It was oversubscribed.
Yeah, they went for 750 million. Then again, 2014, they went for 1 billion. 2015, they went for 1.25. Together, in the three forays into the Eurobond market, we borrowed 3 billion in a very short period of time. And obviously, that was a problem. We didn't even have a proper shopping list for what we are going to do with that money. I recall that one morning I was going to Mulungushi International Conference Center. I was a retiree at that time, and then I was accosted by a number of journalists to explain what was in that day's paper. I had bought the papers as I was going to the conference center, but I didn't read them. And then they were mentioning, like, there is an announcement here from the Minister of Finance that he has asked commercial banks that want to borrow to use part of the proceeds of the Eurobond to go and get something. Let them indicate to the government, then we allocate them part of the money. That was a great shock because it meant we had gotten money without any clear spending plan. Yeah.
So did you get shocked? I know you were in the thick of things when we were pushing for HIPIC and the Jubilee 2000, the church, the civil society, governments, and then the debt was written off. A few years down the line, we're back right from where we started.
Suddenly we are back, and at that time...
Were you shocked?
By 2014, I had relocated to Zimbabwe to work at Macroeconomic and Financial Management Institute for Eastern and Southern Africa, MEFMI. And that institution was created to help countries understand their debts and also to manage them properly, to do their own debt sustainability analysis and so forth. And here, I was executive director there. And now I get news that my own country is gone back to reckless borrowing. It was a shame. It was a shame. But
so this is the big problem that the country is facing now, debt restructuring and still negotiating with the... It's a tall mountain to climb. It has been very difficult. You know. Targets have been moving. And we're talking June as we sit here, and there's hope that probably in June the deal could be sealed. What do you think is the biggest challenge to concluding this deal?
Well, first of all, let me say that the current government is unfortunate. They have inherited a problem. They were not the ones who created it. It was the previous government. But, you know, once you take over the reins of power, you inherit whatever is in there in your country.
You inherit problems,
yes,
success.
So they have to contend with the mess left by the previous government. You recall that the previous government had tried to see if they could resolve that issue. And in 2020, we had a default on payments falling due. The first default, in fact, in the literature, Zambia has been classified as the first default in the COVID era. Post-COVID era, they failed to pay. So that's when everything now started to unveil. And they tried to see whatever could be, but you see, they had nobody could trust a government that had messed up within a short period, okay? So they couldn't find a solution. They were trying to go to the international community, but none of the credible members of the international community thought that this was a government which could provide a credible solution. So that was the problem. So it was a confidence issue. Because of what had happened, nobody could confidently negotiate with them or have trust in them and things like that. So then we had the elections in 2021. So the hope was that with the new government, we are going to have something credible emerging. So you saw that immediately when we had a new government, even the Kwacha started to firm, yeah, because everybody was confident that there is now a new government and they'll come in with new ideas and so forth, so probably we'll solve this problem. And so that's how the new government now started to make approaches to the IMF, to the World Bank, to the international community in general, that we owed money to see if we could find a solution. And underlying this is, of course, you've heard of the G20 common framework for the treatment of debt, under which I think we have been the first ones, because we are the first to default, and so this new framework was developed for countries that potentially could default. And since we had already defaulted, we are the first in the queue of the people to benefit from the G20 framework. And so far, it has been a hard road because of various factors. First of all, as we know, the IMF gave us some facility of 1 point. That amount of money which is given is for a specific purpose, to help you in the resolution of the outstanding debt. But in between, we had some other development which we should acknowledge was helpful. There was a general increase in the SDRs, special drawing rights, for all the member countries. And Zambia's proportion of that, or portion of that, was about 1.4 or so, which was given. Everybody got, even Zimbabwe got, and so forth, but they got less than what we got. So that one, I think, was a good breather for us. I think some of the good things that the government did were because of that SDR increase portion. But the 1.3 was for the purpose of assisting us deal with the resolution of the debt. Yeah. And according to the G20 framework, we were supposed to have official creditor committee, OCC, of all the people we owed money to, who would then be negotiating with us. And within that, we were also supposed to have an agreement, an MOU with all of them, which they would sign, to agree that these will be the terms under which we would negotiate debt restructuring. Now, what is debt restructuring? It means basically two things: that you want some of your debt to be cancelled or to be reduced, at least what you have to be reduced, so that you can reach levels which you can afford to pay back, to reach the sustainable debt levels, as it were. So you have to calculate what is the DSA, the sustainable debt levels, and then of course how much can you cancel from your debt, the so-called haircuts. If they cancel, what remains, is it sustainable, is it a level which you can afford to pay back, and so forth. So those are, that's, I would
the
say,
technicalities
yes,
around that.
I would say that's where we are, because we haven't seen any development in terms of announcing. If you have been following the reports from the Ministry of Finance, they've been saying, okay, they want about 8 billion something of external debt cancelled. They're talking of external debt, okay? Because external debt is estimated to be about 17 or so. So if you can cut off about half, what will remain might be sustainable in terms of the exports.
We'll be able to
the export proceeds, being able to pay off whatever falls due and the like. Another aspect of restructuring might be by way of
extending the
repayment period,
yeah.
so that what you are paying is in a reduced form, and so you can afford with your situation. So those are the things that I believe are currently under discussion, and where progress probably has been a bit slow, because you will recall that towards the beginning of this year, there was an IMF mission here, which said they had even presented the staff level agreement, which was going to be presented to the board. At that time, there was excitement that we are about to reach there. And even the Kwacha appreciated.
But then the target moved.
Yeah, but as the days went on, people started to think perhaps we are not there yet. But that's the scenario. But within that scenario, there are also a lot of other issues that need to be considered. For instance, one of them, people have always been mentioning China. China is the biggest creditor individually as a bilateral. We owe them something in the region of 6 billion for the various lines of credit
that we got from there. Maybe we can invite our viewers to interact with us. Doc. You can call us on 25 30 25, or you can send us text via WhatsApp on 0973 433 802, 0973 433 802, or call us on 25 30 25. Our guest is former Bank of Zambia Governor, Dr. Caleb Fundanga. So we're talking about debt, and various interest groups are now saying, can government come up with an alternative plan away from debt restructuring? If it fails, what happens?
Well, personally, I don't believe that there is an alternative plan. I think even the minister has been very clear on this. What we should be doing is to ramp up production for export. You understand? We need to earn forex in order to pay off our debts. If we are given restructuring in the process, it just provides us with a breather, because even with whatever happens, we still have to pay whatever will remain. Now, the only way, is to be a decent nation, and we are not supposed to be one of these breadbasket cases. We can produce, we have got copper. You've seen now we have got this gold, manganese, all sorts of minerals are available here. We should be talking about what can we do with our mineral wealth to ramp up production so that we earn more foreign exchange. We have got a lot of other natural resources like these hardwoods which have just been smuggled out of this country. We should organize production so that we export in an orderly manner. Whoever wants our hardwoods, but importantly, we should add value to the hardwood. Why not establish furniture factories here and use the hardwood? Why should other countries that are not blessed with the
the resources
be the ones to benefit
more than us.
There's
a caller on the line, Doctor.
Maize. I want to talk about maize. Because recently we have been arresting people who want to buy our maize. But that's an export product.
But maybe if it's done legally. I want you to hold your thought. We have our first caller on the line. Mr. Chilonda from Lusaka. Please go ahead and make your contribution.
Yes, good evening, and good evening, everybody. I remember that Caleb Fundanga was same governor in 2007. In 2007, when Zambia reached HIPC completion point.
2005.
Is it no 20? Is it towards 2007? If I want us to correct a point of correction. In 2007, Zambia celebrated HIPC completion point, and when Ngandumaganda was a finance minister. And what can we do so that we again reached HIPC completion point, high indebted poor countries? We are still in high indebted poor countries. We need to come out from high indebted poor countries. What can we do? Is it what you are saying? Should we clear debts and also other countries forgiving us the debt? I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chilonda. Thank you.
To be very clear about it, we should not be fighting for debt forgiveness now. We were forgiven. So what happened after, which I was trying to explain earlier, was that after we were forgiven our debt, then the new government went and started borrowing recklessly again. Let me tell you, after our debt was forgiven, this country's GDP growth was very high. We were touching 6%, 7%, we were around there because we had the fiscal space in which we could do certain things on our own and so forth. We were growing, and one stage we even reached the lower levels of middle income country. You recall that, Grevazio?
Yes.
When people are even saying now, because we have been classified as a lower middle income country, we couldn't even get either loans or African Development Fund loans, because now they are said, Zambia is moving. But we blew it up. And this is where we have problems, because even now when we are asking for the current forgiveness, the people we are dealing with, whom we are asking for forgiveness, are the same countries that forgave us and we blew it up. They are saying, can we trust you?
So I think we're serious people. There's Oswald on the line calling us from Lusaka. Oswald, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Fundanga. Good to see you after a long period of time. Good evening, Grevazio.
Good evening.
Yeah. I've just got concern. I wanted to, Mr. Fundanga, to be frank. Are there any fora that has been created maybe with the current government or maybe even the previous government where they consult you or they call you, you sit as experts so that you look at how possible you can work on the economy and maybe look for possible means of improvement and so forth? Because when you look at the trajectory of our economy, we've just been going in circles and it has always been bad. The moment we are trying to see improvement, again we go back to the worst case scenario. I know some people are complaining about the graphs, but they are depicting the reality, the truth of what's happening. So my question is there any fora or any council where government maybe they consult you or maybe they call other experts, even indoor, at least to discuss how best can we improve the economy, because it's too much rather than going circles. Thank you very much.
Oswald, thank you so much. Doctor, we keep on going in circles. We improve, we go back. And
life,
go back.
Life must continue.
Is there a forum where you meet us?
Well,
as
I can
elders,
tell you currently I'm the chairman of ZRA. That's the government institution which has got a very important function of ramping up tax collection in order that we can fund our own development instead of borrowing. Life shouldn't be about borrowing, really, even at an individual level. Should you survive only through borrowing? So, if you are talking of where do I contribute, yes, I have got forum where I contribute, and that is ZRA. As chairman, we are discussing all the avenues available for us for ensuring that the mines are properly taxed, that smugglers are not allowed to get away with it, they should pay, and all these kind of things. So I must say that I'm fully engaged.
You could be privileged because you're a board chair for ZRA.
Yes,
but then he's asking,
but
generally, do you have a forum where experts meet and try to advise government?
But I can tell you that, for instance, what is this is ZIPA, Zambia
Institute of
Policy Analysis and Research. On Friday, I was making a presentation on this same issue. That's why I was even surprised that you want me to discuss this, because on Friday, I was making a presentation at this hotel here near Mandahi. What did you call it?
Sarova?
Sarova Hotel in the evening. I gave a presentation and we were there up to quite late, 20 hours, 22 hours. But that institute is a government think tank, okay? So I was speaking, making a contribution. As a think tank, I'm sure they've got a feedback. But you see, when you are in a certain position, you shouldn't think that the only way you can contribute is by going to the Ministry of Finance or whatever. But ZRA is a Ministry of Finance wing, and we contribute there in seminars, forums like this. And I can tell you, even when I was out of the country, at MEFMI, we were teaching staff from Bank of Zambia and Ministry of Finance and other neighboring countries in Southern Africa and Eastern Africa, were teaching them debt sustainability analysis. And some of them have even graduated. We graduated them as fellows of MEFMI. Once they've come out as fellows, they can teach others what we were teaching them. And MEFMI is supported by experts from the World Bank, from the IMF, and all sorts of international institutions. So that is also a contribution. What contribution?
But there's another point that he raises.
Yeah.
Why have we failed to be consistent in terms of growing our economy? Very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent, yes. And this is
50 years down the line, we don't seem to know whether we're going.
I think it's a political issue. As you saw, I was narrating. After 2011, when there was a change of government, everything reversed. I remember in 2017 making a presentation to the Economics Association at Pamozo. I came from Zimbabwe to come and make a presentation on Zambia's debt problem. And we were saying we are now again degenerating into heavy indebtedness and so forth. The very thing that we had fought a few years back. At that time, the then government was saying, oh, there is nothing, there is no debt crisis here. Everything is okay. And we went on, the same government now finds itself in a situation in 2020 where it couldn't
service the law, service the date.
So
let's get in a caller so that it doesn't wait long. Mr. Ngoma from Ndola, please go ahead and make your contribution.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Grevazio, and good evening, Doctor. The doctor had started explaining on agriculture. I would love if he can propound on that, because we have examples of our colleagues, for example, in Kenya. Much of their GDP is contributed by agriculture. Also, they grow coffee there. Okay, we also have people like in Uganda. So agriculture is making some significant contribution. What him from Bank of Zambia experience, where are we not doing right for us to make agriculture contribute more, so that we can begin to move away from maybe relying on copper? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ngoma. I was starting to, when Grevazio told me that people had started phoning in. Zambia, we are well endowed with land. We also have a lot of fresh water. The largest body of fresh water is in Zambia. So we can do irrigation, but even the rainfall patterns, although there are some regions, there are some climatic zones here. If you look at northwestern, Luapula, and northern, those are high rainfall areas. So even when there is drought, we feel it, maybe a bit in Lusaka here, in western, southern, and probably a bit in eastern. But we have never had a case where the entire country was badly affected by drought. So we can grow. And if we based our agricultural production on these climatic zones, we would make sure that we grew certain things which require a lot of rains in certain parts of the country. But the most important thing is that almost every neighbor of Zambia is not self-sufficient in food. We have been self-sufficient since the controversial Monawasa issue when he refused to accept GMO maize, and he started this food, what we call FISIP. From that time, we have never had a crisis with food. We always produce enough. But even without a strategy aimed at capturing the local market, if you look at DR Congo, we've got a huge border with DR Congo, starting from northwestern all the way up to Luapula and the northern province. Why not feed them? And they are willing to pay in dollars, you know, the DR people. They are willing to pay in dollars. You can just establish farms, and you know farming is just one season. It's not like mining where you say, within one season you can just say we are going to put in so much investment all along the borders with DR Congo and produce a lot of maize and sell them. Produce eggs, produce all sorts of things. Those who are doing pigs, produce and sell to them. This is an export, even better than copper. But
then we're failing to
we have failed to,
and we're failing to grow the agriculture sector.
In my view, that's what we should be doing. We are producing, gold is being produced everywhere. Almost every part of Zambia has got gold. But we are not getting to grips with this opportunity in order that we can produce gold in an orderly manner, refine it, and export it all over the world where they need gold. So, I don't know what this new metal you found.
Sodalite.
Sodalite is another thing. I don't even know how it looks like personally. We have got manganese. I've noticed that even in Kapirimposh now, there is a manganese factory there. So these things are there. Why not take advantage and produce? We can produce all sorts of citrus fruit here. Look at sugar. Sugar we do export, but it's only recently that we have seen other companies coming in. I know that there is a sugar company in Kasama which exports sugar to DR. There is another one which has come up in Luapula. Here in Lusaka, I think somewhere after Makeni, there has been a sugar company there. But we can produce even 10 times the sugar that we're producing today. If you go to all these flood plains in Luapula and so forth, miles and miles of marshlands where we can easily...
Good ideas, but then there seems to be no regime that has ever pushed the agriculture agenda as aggressively.
No, I'll tell you one thing.
When in the mining sector.
When I was at the Bank of Zambia, we organized an international agricultural conference. Do you remember? It was held at Pamosi Hotel. And a lot of BOZ was one of the sponsors. We had others like Barclays Bank, which is now ABSA, and so forth. People were even people within Bank of Zambia were saying, why is he concerned? The Bank of Zambia should not be concerned with this. And I said, but we are concerned with Forex. If we don't produce enough food, people will starve here. And people will be coming to the central bank to say, give us money to import food. We did organize a big international, probably one of the biggest ever organized. And a lot of international interest. Others used to come later on to want to invest here and so forth. But, you know, these things, you can only contribute that little. Obviously, it was not our normal portfolio. Hence,
so you probably faced resistance.
Yeah.
So we'll be getting in messages. You can text us using 0973433802. So, Doc will be getting in messages as soon as they're given to us. But mining as well. You've mentioned mining.
Mining, again, is another catastrophe. Because even now, on the copper belt, there are a lot of artisanal miners there. Most of them, they're earning a lot of money. Most of them are not even paying. If you look at emeralds, for example, emeralds have been around for a long time. You go to Senegal, understand that even in the capital, there's even a place called Zambia or something like that. because there have been a lot of people from that country who have been mining or buying our emeralds from our people who don't know where they can sell the emeralds. The sector is disorganized. They don't pay any taxes and so forth. There are people who are also artisanal copper miners. They are mining copper. They don't pay any taxes. Even some of the established mining companies, they are not paying even all these mineral royalty taxes. So there is a lot of money, if properly captured, could go a long way towards financing our own development, so that we can be able to pay our way into anything we want to do, like roads and so forth, and build schools, hospitals, and this country is rich.
But then we fail to organize despite being rich. Let's look at the messages. There we go. Good evening. Can the doctor kindly explain clearly why there's a delay in debt restructuring? That's one of them. You can just
pick up.
The economy is not bad. We just need to invest more in agriculture. We need good agricultural policies to boost our economy. Triple A Mumpika. Doctor, you are an awesome man. I have so much respect for you. How can you help this current government to make the right economic decisions? There's no way we can continue exporting our resources in raw form. Dr. Fundanga, why do you think as a country we are failing to be an export company? We keep talking as a country, but we don't implement. Greetings, Dr. Caleb Fundanga. Glad to hear from you. I agree with him that as a country, we shouldn't be asking for debt forgiveness. Do we have national assets that as a country we can liquidate and settle the debt? What internal resource mobilization mechanism can we deploy in order to settle this debt? Wembia Chanda, Development Finance Expert. Greetings, Dr. Fundanga. Glad to hear from you. Okay, that's the same message that we got. Good evening. I'm glad you are explaining in simple way for many Zambians to understand. And Mr. Grevazio include local language for an ordinary citizen to understand. Well,
that's a lot of questions. Your comment, please. But let me say
talk and no implementation. There's a question there.
Let me start with agriculture, because agriculture is what we all do. We all come from agricultural backgrounds, although very low productivity. Productivity agriculture is not the right way to go forward. We need to ramp up. I'm sure you've seen that in this year's budget, the minister said we are not just going to provide fertilizer and seed, but we also want to provide technical inputs, extension workers. And there were even there was a huge allocation for motorbikes, so that extension workers can move around the farms in order to show them. Sometimes we pump a lot of fertilizer into peasant agriculture, but it all gets wasted. Sometimes it even burns the very crop it's supposed to help. So proper usage of these inputs is an important ingredient. If I give you an example, here in Zambia, very few people produce 4 tons of maize per acre, right? In Zimbabwe, they are talking of between 10 to 17 acres of maize per acre. Now, just imagine if we could reach that level of productivity.
So it means our extension officers
there is more to be done. It's not a question of just pumping in more fertilizer and the hybrid seed, but that the application must be scientifically done so that the yields can go up. Even just having an acre, if you can produce, let's just an hectare, you produce 17 tons. Do you need to produce more than an acre, to work on more than an acre? Just 1 acre, if it can give you that much, you will be a successful small-scale farmer, isn't it?
There's a question there. Yeah. Somebody asked
that's
about the debt. Somebody's saying, are there assets we could sell to liquidate the debt, pay back?
Well, I don't know. It's a bit of a complicated issue, but on a personal view, I think that we shouldn't have even gotten into the 2020 default. I can say this, okay, because we need to be very honest as a country. At that time when the possibility for default was arising, we could have taken another route. We could have tried to see even our banks if they could give the government a bridging loan to pay maybe 100 million or 40 million, whatever. I don't know the extent of the default. And I can tell you that an institution I was working with at that time, we were willing to go and discuss with the government to see if we could give a bridging loan. You know, these bridging loans are not new. Even during Kaunda's time, banks used to give bridging loans to Ministry of Finance when they had a shortfall of dollars, in order that we don't fall into default. Because if a country defaults, it has a lot of implications in terms of the rating of the country and the cost of borrowing, because any default attracts a lot of penalties for borrowers from that country. So we were worried as an institution that if we allow a default to take place, it may result in the cost of mobilizing international resources becoming too high for everybody. And we made an effort to see the powers that be at that time. For 1 week, we could not be given access to a meeting. For 1 week. We stopped doing everything else. This is urgent for our country. In the morning, they say, oh, you should just be on standby. You can be called anytime to a meeting. The week finished, then we said, it's a no deal. It's obvious. So I could say that probably at that time, there wasn't any goodwill to resolve this debt problem. Because if there was, we could have easily mobilized resources to pay off part of the debt, and we couldn't have defaulted. They were not interested.
We're drawing towards the end of the program, but I want you to deal with a few issues here. One of them, evaluate the performance of the economy.
I must say that...
where are we now?
I must say that the new government has done a lot. It's unfortunate we don't have time. One of my favorite projects of the new government is CDF. Last time when I talked to Frank Mtovila, I was saying it's a game changer. Because, you know, having worked at the Planning Commission, I know that we were talking of decentralization theoretically. You could even have a plan which says this is going to happen, but it never happened because money never used to get to the bottom. The CDF has ensured that every constituent gets an equal sum. Okay, there are issues about equality of allocation, but at least that's the principle. And we have seen, starting off, for instance, like desks, school desks, a simple thing. We even used to import desks, isn't it? Today, they are being made, and the principle of CDF, things like desks must be
made locally.
That's already creating opportunities. Even to paint schools or build school blocks and things, they are saying find local construction companies. If you are in a rural province, don't go and get a construction company from Lusaka. Give the chance to those who are there. Of course, there is a lack of skills, okay? But CDF itself provides money to send kids from each constituency to learn skills like carpentry, bricklaying. Those are the skills for building a future Zambia. So for me, I give the current government high marks for that.
CDF.
Yeah, CDF. And when last week the president was saying it might be ramped up to 50 million, I was saying even 100 would be a good thing. But of course, I know that we are very skeptic. Zambians don't believe in themselves. A lot of them have been saying they will just misuse this money. I said, look, you've had billions being stolen in Lusaka. Okay? What are you worried about? You are giving them only 28 million. You know, surely not everybody can steal the money in every constituency. So let us just work hard to ensure that there is accountability and in the way the money is used, that the choice of priority projects is perfect and so forth, and we perfect it. We'll probably be the first African country to have really come up with a formula for ensuring that money is not concentrated at the center,
but it goes down to the rural areas.
And the people are able
I have to let you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've been watching Sunday Interview, and our guest this evening was the former Bank of Zambia Governor, Dr. Caleb Fundanga. I'll be back next week sometime. Pleasant viewing.
Good evening, countrymen, women, and the children. It is my honor and privilege to launch the commemoration of the World Day Against Child Labor, which falls on the 12th of June of every year. This year's theme for the World Day Against Child Labor is dubbed Social Justice for All, End Child Labor. The theme is a timely reminder that our children deserve equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities that child labor deprives them of. You may be aware that child labor in Zambia remains a great challenge. Recent preliminary data on child labor shows that 430,075 children are in child labor. Of this number, 249,937 children are in child labor in rural areas, while 180,138 children are in child labor in the urban areas. Countrymen, women, and children, despite these seemingly insurmountable challenges, Zambia is equal to the task in its fight against child labor. This is evident from the International Labour Organization's conventions, which Zambia has ratified and domesticated. The ratification will certainly ensure that children are accorded the right environment and opportunities in the promotion of their rights. To affirm